notice two things from the normal Sub-Zero setup. Firstly, only one Sub-Zero sister. I'm afraid Alex is not available today, but she will be back soon, I promise, for her fans. She's never very far away, and she will be back. And the second thing is, I am not made up at all. Normally for the videos so far, I have got ready, I've put a little bit of makeup on, and I've got my head on, and I've picked out an outfit, and I've driven over to Alex's house and we've done the filming. But I've realised if we're going to do these videos on a reasonably regular basis for you, I can't put that pressure on myself because I'm a busy working mum, and it's just not going to happen if I make that a criteria for making these videos. So this is me in my home as normal, and for you today we're going to talk about birthday cake. My little girl Penelope just had her first birthday. Oh, how has it been a year? It's madness. We decided to have a special birthday cake made. So we sourced a baker locally who could provide a cake that was dairy-free because Penelope has cow's milk protein allergy. She made a 4-tier lemon sponge cake with buttercream covered in gorgeous thick white icing, purple stars, and great big bow, and it said Penelope and 1 in the icing. And I was so very happy with it. It was going to make a fantastic centerpiece for the birthday family brunch that we had this weekend past. It was a fantastic cake, very much enjoyed by everyone, but it was far too much for just the family. So after we finished it, I found myself cutting up slices and wrapping them in baking sheet and foil and giving them to the family and saying, for tomorrow, for work, for a treat. I made a couple for the older ladies who live either side of my parents in the retirement accommodation where they live. And still I had a good half a cake, I think, left over. At this point my husband said, oh, well, my mother's coming to stay with us for a few weeks in about a month's time. Is there any way we can save cake for her? Well, it's a normal sponge cake, it's not going to last for a month. And then I thought, with my Sub-Zero hat winging its way from the corner of the room and planting itself on my head, can you freeze birthday cake? Yes, indeed, it turns out you can freeze this kind of sponge buttercream birthday cake. So I found an article, I've written down the details here, from the I Freeze, I Save campaign, and just to give you some interesting freezing stats before we get into the cake bit, 92% of people in the UK are unaware that items such as eggs can be frozen, and over half, 56%, did not know that herbs could be kept in the freezer. We have a herb video. Please look back through the archives for the freezing herb video. Despite 1 in 5, 21% of shopping baskets in the UK containing at least 50% frozen food, almost 2 million people throw away items in their freezer after just 2 weeks, believing they've gone off by this point. Cakes, apparently, are nicer when consumed after a 24-hour session in the freezer, as freezing boosts moisture, resulting in a softer, creamier centre. Is this true? Well, for you, dear viewer, I did test this. One piece of cake went in the freezer, following a protocol which I'll describe in a minute, overnight. And I had it at tea time the next day, and I can report that it was at least as nice as when it was fresh and perhaps a little softer. So there you go, amazing. You can even improve on cake by using your freezer. The question of how long you can keep cake in the freezer, again, the research varies a little, somewhere between 1 to 3 months. I would suggest 4 to 6 weeks is probably a safe estimate for how long you can keep birthday cake. So take your birthday cake and slice it up in the portion size that you would like to retain. It's not the best thing to have to cut it afterwards. You certainly don't want to have to cut it frozen, and the defrosting process will take longer and be more uneven if you've got giant chunks. So cut the portion size that you want. Place the portions on a tray of some kind. I just use the baking tray that goes in my microwave oven. And put these in whatever is the fast freeze section of your freezer. Now this will depend. If you have drawers, often the ones are marked with more stars or the words like fast freeze. Mine actually says fast freeze. And this is the area where you want to put your baking tray with your cakes on top of it, cake slices. If you're not sure, higher up in the freezer, better. And leave them in there for 6 to 8 hours or overnight. I left mine overnight because I can't be bothered with clock watching for 6 hours. When you go to retrieve the cake, I just pre-mark some freezer bags with birthday cake and the in and out dates. So I'm ready. I go up there with my freezer bags, take the cakes off the baking tray. They come off pretty easily, but do be careful. They still can be crumbly. They're not frozen solid like a block of ice. It's still a crumbly texture. It's just frozen. So take them off carefully. Put them in the freezer bags, 1 or 2 pieces per bag, or the number you are going to want to freeze at one time. And then seal the bag, getting as much air out as possible while you're doing it, and then pop back in your freezer. And they will keep there, as cake is currently keeping in my freezer for a few weeks. In my case, so we can have a revival of Penelope's first birthday party with Spanish Grandma when she arrives in a few weeks. Oh hey!